Colleen Condon, and welcome to Porch Chats. This is the Charleston County Democratic Party way to introduce you to our candidates in light of what we're living through right now. Today we have Eileen Dougherty running for House Seat 115. Welcome, Eileen. How are you today?
Great. Thanks so much for having me today, Colleen. And I also want to congratulate you on your reelection.
Thank you. I appreciate the chance to work with so many great candidates again this year. So thank you. So tell us, why are you running?
Absolutely. And first I want to say that you see behind me that I'm not on my porch, and that's because right as I got set up, my neighbors started mowing their lawn. So I wanted to make sure that everybody had an opportunity to hear me well. So absolutely. So Colleen, my husband Matt and I, we live on James Island. We have two girls. One is still in high school and then the other is in college. We run a small commercial fishing business. And I come to that from over a decade of working at Environmental Defense Fund, where I worked in partnership with fishermen to defend our oceans and our fishing industry. So in addition to that, I'm a lifelong Democrat, I'm a community advocate, and I most recently served as president of the James Island Folly Beach Democrats, as you know. I founded and co-chaired the South Carolina Democratic Party Healthcare Caucus, and I served 2 years as the Charleston County rep, or one of them, to the State Party Executive Committee. So for years, I've attended our local public meetings to urge our elected bodies to protect our coastal communities from flooding and overdevelopment, plastics pollution, offshore drilling, and our climate crisis. So I really try to put my time and energy behind those acts and deeds behind the beliefs and passions that I hold.
Oh, that's terrific. Well, yeah, I think a lot of people on the island already know you. Now, House 115 isn't just on James Island, though. Where else does it include?
Absolutely. So I will talk about that for a moment. It includes James Island, as you mentioned, and I believe where you grew up, right?
Exactly.
This includes James Island, Folly Beach, Kiowa Island, and Seabrook Islands. And I will say for James Island in particular, we see that certain areas have been carved out. So what do those areas look like? That looks like Westchester. That looks like areas on Saul Legree Road. It looks like Riverland Terrace and parts of Grimble Road. And really, that's a result of gerrymandering. And most of those communities that I talked about are primarily African American.
Okay. On your website, does it include a map of the district so people can see?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. There's actually an interactive map of the district, and thank you to the Charleston County Democratic Party for helping candidates with that. So you can go there, you can check out where your district is. You can also go to scvotes.org, put in your information, and look up and make sure you know what your district is through that way as well. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, when you get elected and are serving us in the State House, what are the issues you're going to be focused on?
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate that. And, there are so many issues in this community, but there are a number of which I'm really focusing on. And I want our voters to know what they can expect me to fight for them when I get to the State House. So I want to fight for a good life for everyone. So what does that look like? It looks like healthcare that doesn't bankrupt our families. And you probably know this, but 19 to 50% of Americans have pre-existing conditions. Yet we are, 19 to 50%. Yet we are one of 14 states that has not expanded Medicaid. So as a state, we accept federal money for many other things. So let's go ahead and accept that money to help our citizens with their most basic needs, which are healthcare and good healthcare, access to quality healthcare that doesn't bankrupt us. We want flooding solutions and a climate action plan, so I will fight for that. We know that hurricanes and sunny day flooding and weather bombs, we're calling them weather bombs, are no longer freak events, and we all need clean air and to breathe and water to drink to have a good life. We want to support our teachers and students and provide pathways for all of our children. So that means good, access to trade schools and college and good jobs. And I'm going to fight for our vote through fair redistricting. And finally, I want to make a personal commitment to our voters. And I want to commit to a continued relationship with our community. And as a part of that, I commit to hosting quarterly in-district town halls to foster that communication and open dialogue with our voters.
Being available is so key, Eileen. I think that will be really appreciated by constituents. because so many people don't know when an issue comes up, is it a state issue? Is it a county issue? Is it a town issue or a city of Charleston issue? That they
Absolutely.
need to be able to know they can reach out to you.
No, I totally agree. And as we think about a lot of these issues that we're facing, it could take flooding as an example. You know, if I have water who come over from across the street on Rimble Road Extension onto my property, I am in another, we are in two different districts. And so I say, okay, I want to solve this problem. I need a ditch cleaned. Okay, do I call city or county, my city or county official? Do I call town of James Island? Do I call my state representative in 119 or 115? You know, and so that, I think that really divides our voices rather than uniting them. And so I feel like knowing, having a direct connection to your representative, what level of government they are, we would need them all. But having that direct connection really helps us to be able to make change and have our voice heard.
That makes complete sense. Now, this year, there's not only just the regular primary, but we actually have a special process going on this year as well for 115. Is that right?
We do. And, you know, I think this is one of the opportunities to, that we're going to have to do a lot of explaining of what this looks like. So we, on March 30th, Peter McCoy, who held the seat for nearly 10 years, he stepped down to serve as U.S. Attorney. That triggered a special election. So while many of us had already registered to run for a general election, then on top of that, we have a special election. So what does that look like? That looks like on June 9th, we will have 2 elections. So if you go vote in person, you will go to get 2 ballots and vote on 2 separate voting machines. If you vote via absentee, which we are definitely recommending, we are in a pandemic right now, and we don't want people to have to trade their vote for their health. And so if you are actually requesting your absentee ballots, what you will have to do is you will have to, you can call, you can go to scvotes.org. I mean, there are multiple different ways in which you can engage. And I believe, Colleen, you said the CCDP is also going to help with that as well.
As of today, you'll be able to click Vote Blue, sc.com, and the Democratic Party will help you through the steps.
Fabulous. So you know the steps so well. A lot of our voters are not as clear. So what you will have to do is you will have to request applications for both of those elections. That means that you'll have to fill out your voter information. You'll have to sign it in front of a witness. You will have to send that or get that back to the Election Commission, and they will send you ballots. For this race in particular, since we have 2 primaries on June 9th, you will have to request 2 absentee ballots. So, I know that we've, a lot of that information is out there on, you know, the 16 reasons that you can vote absentee, and we certainly advocate for making sure that people are not trading their vote for their health.
It makes so much sense. I mean, as a cancer survivor and having asthma, I know that I'm more at risk for getting it. I don't want anybody I care about to have to endanger their lives, if you said, to go vote for you on June 9th. So thank you for
more, as you know.
helping. Agreed. So Eileen, tell us a little more. If they want to people want to find out more about you, what's the best ways to get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So I definitely want to tell people that, and I know we don't want to go too long, but I also just want to tell you a little bit about why I'm running.
Please.
Okay,
yes,
great.
let's get it.
So I will keep it short, but I have multiple reasons for running. I'm very fortunate to have received a transplant when I needed it most, so I understand the need for healthcare. I worked on oceans policy, where I brought fishermen from different diverse backgrounds to think about new ways of managing fisheries, but it really required a tidal shift in their thinking. It also required a seat at the table. So I know how important that, even though we have all this effective policy work, I know just how important it is to have that seat at the table. And you know, I think though that the final thing that pushed me to run is we had a 294 unit development go in next door to our property. And we started seeing a lot of changes to our land. It was just mushy all the time, and we're like, what's going on? We talked to over 25 different state, local, and federal agencies, and we finally just realized that there is no law that governs the way that underground water changes. And I realized that while it may be too late for us, it's not too late for our community, our district, our county, and our state. And so that really was the final linchpin in making sure that I said, let's go ahead and do it and run and be that seat at the table.
Oh, that is wonderful. Yeah, it's so frustrating to have development around you have such an effect on your property. No
Absolutely.
question.
And we're a coastal community that is facing sunny day flooding and the climate crisis every day. And so I think it's really important that we make sure that we're attuned to that and how we grow, and that we grow in a smart way. So, but anyway, to get back to your actual question.
Oh, good.
You can, our campaign is a People Power campaign, so we'd love for everybody to join and volunteer. You can go to electeileen.com. Again, that's electeileen.com to volunteer or donate or sign up for our newsletter. We actually have a day of giving today where we're raising $2,020. So if you want to head on over there now, just if you can give $1, that's great. Whatever, that we understand that these are hard times for sure. You can email me at eileen@electeileen.com, or you can just pick up the phone and give me a call. This is a time where a lot of times we want to just connect over the phone and make those personal connections. And we're reaching out to people, but be sure to reach out to us as well. And that's 843-606-0558. We have Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at electeileen115.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the right answer is going to be trying to host a debate or a forum between the different candidates, but we know it's going to be a challenge to reach out to everybody. And so we hope that this will give people a chance to get to know all the great Democratic candidates we have running.
Absolutely. I mean, it certainly is a challenge. I think we are very fortunate that we started our campaign back in August and started knocking doors in September. And so we've connected with over 1,500 people at their doors. So before COVID descended upon us and we switched over to other digital and phone banking and things like that, we had an opportunity to connect with a lot of people in person. And so we feel very fortunate about that. And I think, these are opportunities. We would always see something that we can see as a detriment is always also an opportunity for growth. And I think, as we think about that on a state level and we think about reopening, maybe we can also think about reimagining what our life can be here in South Carolina.
That makes sense. Now, so we talked about the primary. Actually, it's 2 primaries on the same day. And then you actually also will have 2 general elections. Is that correct?
We will. So what the election schedule looks like is that we will have 2 primaries, as you said, on June 9th. If, in fact, that does not decide which Democratic candidate moves forward, we will have a runoff election on June 23rd.
Oh, right, of course.
And and then the special election will be August 11th, and then the general election will be November 3rd. So we have a pretty busy election season here, a lot of opportunities to connect with voters. And I think really it's about values. I mean, we see that in our volunteers, we see that in our team, and we see that in the donations that we get, is that people are wanting to see their values taken to the State House. And I look to be the representative who does that.
Perfect. Yeah, August 11th, when we first thought this might happen, it was usually, of course, the General Assembly doesn't meet in the fall, so it wouldn't have made a difference. But now it looks like there may be a special session in the fall, so the new representatives can be able to get to work.
Absolutely, and I think that's what we're talking about in reimagining. If they come back in September and they are addressing the issues that are most important to our state, and particularly the budget and other COVID funding and looking at our small businesses, I really think this is an opportunity for us to roll up our sleeves at our campaign and get in there and start making change immediately. So we're ready to do that. We're ready to fight for our voters. We're willing to fight. We're ready to fight for South Carolina and all those things that are so important to a good life: healthcare, clean air, clean water, a solid crisis response, funding those agencies that we see are critical to our health and safety and well-being.
Wonderful. Well, Eileen, I know that you would serve the constituents of House 115 well. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us, and we really appreciate that all you do for the party and the state as well.
Thank you. All right. Have a good afternoon, everybody.
Thanks so much.